Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, children.
Waalaikumsalam.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. Do you remember what day of Muharram is it?
7th of Muharram. No, 10th.
Yes,
Ninth.
7th. 7th. Well done, Zainab. Well remembered. You're keeping track of stuff. Alright, so does anyone know what happened? Any particular incident that happened in Karbala on this date?
No.
You do know where the caravan of Imam Hussain is, right? At this point, where were they?
Karbala.
In Karbala. They got there on 2nd of Muharram. So on 7th of Muharram, what happened was that Ibn Sa'd, who was the commander of the opposite army, the army of Yazid, ordered his troops to force Imam Hussain ﷺ to move his tents away from the river Furat. And basically water was banned for them. From this day onwards, no one from the camp of Imam Hussain ﷺ could go to Furat and get water. And actually, Hur, you remember Hur? We did the Hur episode, remember? And we went to Karbala and visited Hur when he was going through that dilemma and thinking which camp should he be in. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Hur actually next day, on the day of Ashura, when he was fighting the army of Ibn Sa'd, actually mentioned that and he said that even dogs and pigs are allowed to drink from the river Furat, and you're not letting the grandson of Prophet drink from it. So that's the first act of ignorance, or the first, let's say, the beginning of war was actually taking water away from them, so that they become weak and thirsty and they're not able to fight. Okay, so
can I ask them
would
something?
You remember? You would remember all of this, right?
Yes.
So did you
remember.
Still have any water stored in the tents at that point?
We had some water at that time, but it wasn't much. It wasn't enough to last for very long.
Yeah. So you would have to ration it.
Very like adults in our caravan, they didn't have water because they were worried about children. They didn't know if they were going to get any water. So they kept the water saved until they could. But it wasn't much.
I've read that some followers, some companions of Imam Hussain, and especially Hazrat Abbas, would go to River Furat. He would actually attack the enemy and fight them and go to River Furat and bring water sometimes. But do you remember that happening?
Yeah, he did. He did at the beginning.
A few times?
Yeah, a few times.
So did you want to ask something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask these children, because I've been thinking, because we've been working with children and they know all about infallibles. They're very good when they've spoken about them. I wonder if they know that how many imams were in the caravan of Imam Hussain. Do you know how many imams?
3.
Can you name them?
Imam Zain-Ali, Imam Hussain, and Imam Mohammad Baqir.
Okay.
You got
2 right.
I think there's only 2.
You think it's only 2? Okay, Aliyah?
Imam Mohammad Baqir.
Well done.
Well
Yes,
done.
Imam Mohammad Baqir. So you wanted to say Imam Mohammad Baqir? Yeah, but you forgot the name. That's fine. That's all right. So Imam Mohammad Taqi was actually 10th Imam. Yeah, he's also called Imam Jawad.
Yeah.
So Imam Baqir was the 5th Imam. He was also there.
So are you still interested to go back in the history?
Yes.
Yes, you are. So shall we check in our history chest where we're going today?
Yes.
Okay.
Any guesses?
Kufa.
Kufa. Let's see.
They've got the right stops because they know where they traveled. You children are picking up really well. You know your information. Okay, are we ready?
Makkah.
Makkah, we have you been to Makkah?
No, no.
Let's see, let's see.
Is it Kufa?
Oh,
Sham.
that is Sham. Who said Sham?
I said Sham.
Well done, Hussain. You
So
got
where
it
are we
right.
going to go?
The prison. Sham.
The
Sham.
Could
Could
you are
be
right,
prison.
because we've spoken about the prison in Sham, so we could be going into prison, or we might be visiting somebody's house. It could be the court. I don't know. Let's go.
Let's see. Ready? Shall we go now?
Yeah.
Let's go.
إن الحسين صاحب كربلاء قتل مظلوما مكروبة عطشانة لهفانة، فآل الله عز وجل على نفسه أن لا يأتيه لهفان ولا مكروب ولا مذنب ولا مغموم ولا عطشان ولا من به آهة. ثم دعا عنده وتقرب بالحسين بن علي عليه السلام إلى الله عز وجل، إلا نفس الله كربته وأعطاه مسألته وغفر ذنبه ومد في عمره وبسط في رزقه، فاعتبروا يا أولي الأبصار.
All right, children. How do you feel about this?
Good.
I was really,
Oh, no.
I was moved by what I saw. But let's ask children first. Did you notice something? Yes, Zainab.
Imam Baqir, he was speaking in Arabic. I didn't really understand what he was saying.
He was speaking in Arabic. Such beautiful
But
accent and beautiful.
I wonder, how did you know that it was Imam Baqir? How do you know? How could you tell?
He was leading the namaz.
Oh, so an imam, if there's an imam among people, then he would always lead the namaz. That's a very good clue. And I think, and there was something else that might have helped you, because he was
Little.
He was little, wasn't he? And
Little, but at the same time so knowledgeable.
He was.
And the way he carried himself, I think that was also a clue. You could tell that this is not an ordinary person, not an ordinary child, definitely. Yes, Hussain?
Wasn't Imam Zainul Abidin there?
Imam Zainul Abidin was the Imam of the time at that point. Imam Baqir Islam was only 4. So technically, yes, the Imam of the time was Imam Zainul Abidin, but Imam Baqir Islam already had that noor of Imamat inside him. So he acted differently, not like any ordinary children. But obviously this was, Imam al-Islam was praying and other children were praying.
That's why this is
him.
what I was going to say, Sister Nargis, that in that crowd, what we saw saying, there was only children. And Imam. Imam Zainul Abidin wasn't present. So if he was, even Imam Baqir alayhi salam, he would have prayed behind him.
So probably what happened was Imam Baqir alayhi salam was just, he just went to a corner and he started praying. And other children, because they loved him so much, they just followed him and started praying after him. And did you notice what the guard was doing? Yes, Zainab.
He was like whipping and at the pots and he was eating.
He was eating all those delicious foods while the children of Ahlul Bayt were thirsty and hungry. And what's amazing is, even when the people, the troops of Ibn Ziyad, the soldiers of Ibn Ziyad were asked about the journey from Karbala to Kufa and then to Sham, that did you notice anything particular about these prisoners? They said that there was something remarkable about the children, even the children of Ahlul Bayt, and it was the fact that, whenever they had to stop somewhere, the soldiers of Ibn Sa'd and Ibn Ziyad would set their tent in somewhere where there was shade, somewhere nice, and they would make the children of Ahlul Bayt in sun, scorching heat and hot desert, and then they would get lambs and probably chicken or birds. They would hunt birds and they would cook them in front of the children and they would eat them. They would have a feast, and all the children of Ahlul Bayt would get was one piece of bread the whole day, and barely enough water for them to survive and not die. And it was so scarce that Lady Zainab, Salamullah alayha, Lady Kulthum, Salamullah alayha, the grown-ups in the caravan, they had to give up on their own share of food. So they said, the soldiers of Yazid said, that even though this was our behavior towards the children of Ahlul Bayt, during the whole journey from Karbala to Sham, we never saw them complaining, we never saw them moaning or asking for food. They never showed any kind of interest or appetite towards the things that they were eating. Instead, whenever we would sit down, we would stop and make them sit on the sand. They would start reading Quran, they would start praying. So that's what we witnessed right now. The God was eating, but the children of Ahlul Bayt were busy praying to Allah, reading namaz, reading Quran, and Imam Baqir salam was speaking to those children, probably giving them hope. So this was a character of Ahlul Bayt, even the children.
Even the children. How beautiful it was.
Amazing.
Sister
And you're
Nargis,
so lucky to have witnessed all of that with your own eyes.
it was. I did see all of it. And I was amazed how those young children, even in the ones who were not family of Ahlul Bayt, because in the presence of Ahlul Bayt, they knew how to be patient. They showed great patience throughout the journey. Because, children, I remember how we started and how the day of Ashura came. It was night of Ashura. Everyone had gone to battlefield and we lost our loved one's life. And after the evening, when all the tents were burnt, next day they made us all travel to Kufa and Kufa to Sham. I remember Imam Baqir alayhi salam. What a beautiful face he had. What beautiful voice he had. How beautifully he recited Quran.
I read that he resembled the Holy Prophet.
He did.
In his face and his manners.
So
there
was
no
no
so
around his face. It was. And I remember, children, Imam Baqir, with all that beautiful face and voice, he was mounted on the camels without a saddle. How hard it was for a child to go and be mounted on that camel. And when they were put down on the floor in that desert, they were all chained. chains around their necks, and they were walked all that long walk from Karbala to Kufa, Kufa to Sham. They all saw the body of their relatives. They saw the body of Imam Hussain in the battlefield. They saw all their loved ones and they left them. They were walking in the desert. It was hot, and there were so many children who were fainting because of the heat. They would fall down on the sand in the desert and faint. Their mothers were screaming. They were saying, "My child has fallen down, my child has fallen down." But the army of Ibn Sa'd, they didn't stop, they didn't care. Imam Zainul Abidin, he pleaded, he said, "Wait, let me look at these mothers. I have to go and look for these children." He would go and he would find the half-fainted children on the hot desert of the way to Sham. He would pick them up and bring them back. And sometimes he got too late. By the time he got to those children, they had lost their life because of hunger, thirst. Imam buried them and they carried on with their journey to Sham.
You know what's the important role of Imam Baqir was in Karbala? Because he was only 4. We know that he could not fight. He did not fight. And even when Imam Hussain came to say goodbye to his sisters, to his daughters, and he came to the tent of Imam Zainul Abidin, he did not mention Imam Baqir. He said, "There are only 2 men left now, you and me." So he did not mention Imam Baqir. Well, he was too little to be called a man, but still, the reason why he did not mention was to keep him safe. Because Imam knew that he's going to be the Imam in future. And if the enemies even got a hint about Imam Baqir being the future Imam, they would definitely kill him and not spare him. So the role that Imam Baqir had was to witness everything with his own eyes, and later on, it told us. So the best narrations, the most correct and authentic narrations that we have, how did we learn about Karbala? It was through Imam Baqir. So the time of Imam Baqir was a time when the Ahlul Bayt were allowed to speak to people. We know that during the time of Imam Zainul Abidin, it was a harsh time for Ahlul Bayt. Even after Karbala, it was Yazid made sure that life becomes unbearable for Ahlul Bayt. He even attacked Medina, and he killed thousands of people, and he attacked the shrines of Holy Prophet, and then he went ahead and even attacked the Baytullah. So during those times, Imam Zainul Abidin couldn't tell people about the truth very much. He used to tell through supplications. But Imam Baqir's time, Yazid's government had been over, and during the change of government, he had this opportunity to gather people, and he was called Baqir. That this was a title given to him by our Holy Prophet ﷺ, and it means, if the whole title is Baqirul Ilm, it means one who slashes and rips open the heart of knowledge. So he was the one who gave so much knowledge to people, including the facts about Karbala. So he was the one who told us what actually happened in Karbala, and he was the first one to tell the story of Dhuljana, the horse of Imam alayhi salam, how the horse came to the tents, and all these beautiful narrations that we have today are due to Imam Baqir alayhi salam.
MashaAllah, I think we've learned so much about Imam Baqir alayhi salam. Maybe these children can go and tell others.
Exactly. And read more, because we can't tell everything, right? Yeah, so they can go and learn more and share it with their friends, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome to our program. In this creative segment, we have prepared these cubes, and we're going to show you how to play these games. We have children here, they will join me very soon. So you can prepare these cubes using different pictures. You can see that I have put pictures on each side and can be played in different ways. You can play a charade, like they can choose a picture and then one person will act out, or you can give a title. You can ask the child to give a title or make up a story. Even using all these pictures, we can make a story in different ways, and they can say a few sentences about it, even crack the code this way. So I'm going to ask children to join me and we can show you how to play this game. Thank you very much, Zain-Ali, Zainab and Eshaal for joining me. We're going to show our audience how to play this game. We can roll a dice or we can choose a picture. So I'm going to choose a picture here. Zain-Ali, can you please explain to me this picture?
I think the picture is about Imam Hussain going to Batool and saying goodbye for the last time to his daughters.
Thank you very much. Eshaal, I'm going to ask you about this picture. Can you say 3 things about this picture?
So this picture has a dome, it has minarets, and you can pray inside it.
Thank you. Zainab, can you act out this picture for me, please?
Okay.
Zain-Ali, what do you think?
Is she drinking water?
Correct, that's correct. I hope our audience can take inspiration for this activity, and you can choose different pictures and play at home with your children. Thank you very much for watching us. Inshallah, see you tomorrow. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.